Welcome to the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast, the podcast that mixes wellness with personal development tips and info specifically for beauty industry professionals. I'm your host, Abby O'Sullivan, a longtime esthetician and lash artist turned wellness coach. With burnout and health issues on the rise amongst my beauty pro friends, I know we need a space to come together, to learn, support each other, and get the push you need to take care of your health. Together, we'll dive into topics like mobility training for a less achy body, managing stress and the chaos of running a business and handling clients, setting up your self-care routines, and so much more. You deserve to feel as good as your clients do when they leave you. Let's make time for you, starting with this podcast. Welcome to the very first episode of the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast. This is a relaunch, a rebrand of my podcast, Crushing with Abby O, and just taking a concept, an idea that was formed in the fall of 2022, turning it into the podcast, the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast. This podcast is for all of my colleagues in the beauty industry, hairstylists, estheticians, nail and lash techs, makeup artists, permanent makeup artists, massage therapists, educators, students. If you are in the beauty industry, this is for you. I'm sure I forgot a profession in there. But if you're in the beauty industry and you care about your health and well-being, this podcast is for you. This podcast came to fruition because I really care about you and your well-being. I really do. In the fall of 2022, I came up with an idea for a Beauty Pro Wellness Collective aimed at essentially what this podcast is, sharing wellness and health information with beauty professionals. And I met a colleague at the Lash conference, and we just totally jived over mobility and strength training and health as a beauty professional. Like, it's just so important for us to take care of ourselves. And so I got her and I got another colleague, and like, we're kind of on the board, right? And it was mostly based on a social media account, Instagram account. And I have lots of ideas. Like, I always have lots of ideas, but I also have like 2 or 3 other businesses. So that passion project kind of fell by the wayside because I'm like, how many social media accounts can I keep up with? Like, I do social media management. I have my own social media. I work part-time as a lash artist. I have a podcast agency. Like, there's a lot going on, and health coaching. And so as I have evolved professionally and just like really come full circle, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know it's been a journey the last couple of years. And in my own like personal / professional evolution, so many things have become clear very recently. And I was like, man, why do I not just take my podcast and rebrand it? It's essentially the same. Like, I'm still going to talk to people in the beauty industry and outside of the beauty industry, in like the health industry, just like people I can have come on the show to talk to you about things that we need to know about for our health, and just like cut through some of the bullshit, but make it fun, make it informational, make it where you can tune in wherever you are. Like, if you're a lash artist and you like to listen to podcasts and you're like, while you're lashing, like, you could listen to my podcast while you're lashing. I know I'm not talking about murder and stuff, but like, I'll make a dick joke every now and then if that keeps you entertained and listening to me, okay? Like, listen, eat your protein. I don't mean a dick, like that kind of stuff, right? Sorry, that was not scripted. That's just me. If you've been listening for a while, I want to give you this background. If you're not in the beauty industry and you still want to tune in, awesome. You're still going to get something out of this, but I do want my beauty pro friends to know that I am talking to you. I love you. I'm talking to you. I care about you. I care about your well-being. So that's the background of this podcast. And if you're new to the podcast, if you're new to me, here's a little bit more about me, Abby O'Sullivan, your host. I introduced myself in the little intro. I have not introduced myself yet today in this podcast, but I am an esthetician and lash artist myself for the last 15 years. And I've worked in different environments as a solo booth renter, as a partner in business, as an educator, as an employee, and with all kinds of beauty professionals like yourself. And I know one thing is for sure. We love what we do. We love what we do, and we want to keep loving what we do. But sometimes, especially if you've been around for a little bit, you're kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I kind of just want to do less, less of this. Sometimes the work schedule and keeping up with clients and all of the demands of being a creative service provider, business owner, employee, and all of the other roles that you have to play within those titles, those job descriptions, that gets the best of us. And it gets the best of our health. We walk the line of burnout so frequently, and more of my friends are realizing their health and well-being is tanked. It's time to change this. In my own career, I've spent thousands on physical therapy for numb fingers and pain so bad in my hips that I couldn't sit comfortably through appointments. Like I was just trying to slap those lashes on and get these ladies out of there so I could stand up, even though that wasn't really comfortable either. It was a bad time. None of that is great for doing lashes. I've shed tears because my shoulders were burning at the end of the day from just literally hours straight doing lashes. I have felt trapped in bad job situations. I've worked for too little. I've worked too much. I've taken on too many clients. I've lost my passion. I found it again. I've lost it. I found it. I've cycled through, right? So how did I become a wellness coach? Well, in 2018, I went through a period of feeling very disenchanted with the lash industry. That has been my specialty almost my entire career. So that was what I was doing, like 40 plus hours a week. I took it a couple different directions. And then I just went through this period where I was like, I don't really know how much I want to be a part of this industry anymore. And I began to wonder what else I could do with my life. And I became a personal trainer and nutrition coach, having loved working with the trainers the previous 5 years or so myself. I got certified in functional range conditioning, FRC, which is a system of mobility training, really for strength training for like your joints, but it has changed my life, how I feel in my body, how I manage aches and pains, especially like low back, tight hips, and my training, like my workouts, strength training. Like when you have greater control in your ranges of motion and greater range of motion, you're less prone to injury. You can connect to your body. There's just so much. I'm going to do an episode because I'm about to go off on a tangent. I'll do an episode about it. In the years that I've been in the health industry, I've gone through a personal and professional evolution, and I've learned so much. Again, you will hear a lot of this in like the past episodes. I am pretty open about my personal like self-development journeys and will continue to be, because I know so many people are going through the same ish, and it affects us. It affects our health, our mental health, our emotional and physical well-being. And I dove into nervous system regulation and stress care for myself. And I know so many of us need this information and work in our hectic, wild world. I call myself a wellness coach because health is more than just workouts and macros. I come at it from different angles, and I like to investigate root causes and explore different ways to practice self-care. I've also tapped into the world of virtual assistants, and it's turned into opening a podcast management agency with my sister called Wonder Podcast Productions. I still lash part-time. Like I said earlier, I still lash part-time, and I enjoy all the different facets of my work life, especially when I listen to myself, when I listen to my body, and I take care of me. That's definitely key to managing all of these different things. I am here with this podcast to give you information and tips specific to you in your career to help you feel better mentally, physically, and emotionally. Like feel human, thrive in your health and in your career. It doesn't have to be one or the other, I promise. I'm here to encourage you to become a CEO of your own health and self-care. We call that the self-care CEO. It's up to you. If you want to feel good in your health and body and have longevity in your career, you got to make time for self-care. You give so much to others every single day, making them feel amazing. So let's make time for you. You can check out the older episodes and find some sweet nugs of info from myself and past guests. In upcoming episodes, you'll hear from beauty industry friends that have gone through the shit of burnout and come out the other side. You'll hear from experts in other fields to speak on many different topics like mindset, money, gut health, so much more. And I've got some solo episodes coming on business boundaries, mobility and strength training, and even expanding your brand and automating. I love podcasting. I loved my podcast before, and I'm continually fine-tuning in so many areas. And I just feel really, the fire has been reignited to share more with you, my Beauty Pro friends. So we're going to break through some of the old notions of work until your arms fall off. I mean, unless you literally love working yourself to pieces. But if you don't, join me. Join me on this podcast. Share this podcast with your friends in the industry. And don't be a stranger. You can come follow me on Instagram, Coach Abby O, ABBYO. And you can also follow the podcast feed directly on Instagram, Beauty Pro Wellness Pod. Beauty Pro Wellness Pod. Thank you so much for being here, and I can't wait to share more with you. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes, leave a review, and share with your friends in the beauty industry. Beauty Pro Wellness Podcast is produced and crafted by Wonder Podcast Productions.